First starting to compete in 2018, USA's 66 kilos Brian Lee achieved a world-leading total and unofficial world record of 713.5 kilos at the 2023 Powerlifting America Nationals, further beating his fellow competitors with a 4.54% lead. His unofficial world record total of 715.5 kilos is 0.42% above last year's historical record of 710.5 kilos achieved by UAE's Kasemsand. Brian Lee's deadlift of 318.5 kilos, which is also a 66 and 67.5 kilos unofficial world record, and approximately 5 times, or precisely 4.87 of the athlete's body weight. It is comparatively apparent that within the 66 kilos weight class, athletes on average rely more on the deadlift principle to add to one's competition total. For example, the overall average for deadlift of the top 10 66 kilos athletes, which includes Brian, approximately accounts for 39.71% of the athlete's total amounts, which is both 3.57% above squat and 15.56% above for bench press. On the other hand, the super heavyweight class, which includes Ray Williams, Jesus Oliveres, Jeza Yupa, and so on, squat reliance is more apparent. For example, the approximate average squat for the top 10 super heavyweights is 39.16% in comparison to the 66 kilos class average of 36.14%. Furthermore, the super heavyweight squat average is 3.19% above the deadlift principle. However, there are similarities between both the 66 kilos and super heavyweight class in regards to the bench press principle, as each class has an approximate averages of both 24.15 for the 66 kilos athletes versus 24.7% for the super heavyweight athletes. The athletes' year-on-year progression average total currently stands at 3.91%, which is 1.94% above the average top 9 66 kilos athletes' progression rate, which currently stands at 1.97%. Further coupled with an overall progression rate since starting to compete in 2018, currently stands at 33.99%. Brian's 3.91% average progression rate. If considered, there could be a possibility within a 3-year time frame, especially if the athlete was to experience a continuous linear increment in both squat and bench press. It is not far-fetched to state that the world may in fact witness over an 800 kilos total within the 66 kilos weight class. Variable such as the level of competition may in fact be an important factor in determining the hypothetical total amount. The athlete's peer total of 713.5 kilos is placed at number 2 on the 66 and 67.5 kilos all-time list. Furthermore, a squat of 245 kilos is placed at number 52 on the 66 and 67.5 kilos all-time list, whilst bench press of 160 kilos at 155 and deadlift of 318.5 kilos is currently placed at the top spot. His closest contender at current, considering that Brian is selected to compete at the upcoming IPF World Championship, is 2015 IPL's 60 kilos equipped world champion, 2022 IPF World's silver medalist, and second place finisher at the recent Powerlifting America Nationals, behind Brian Lee, is Jonathan Garcia. Jonathan's personal best of 697 kilos total is negative 2.37% below Brian's peer total. It's worth further noting that even though Brian has a 8.71% or 61 kilos advantage for deadlift, Garcia's competition advantage lies in both the squat and bench press, wherein which the athlete, Garcia, has a 10.61% in squat and 11.25% bench press advantage over the world leader. A prime example was at the Powerlifting America Nationals. Garcia, who failed 2 of his squat attempts, had a starting lead of 252.5 kilos versus Brian's 242.5 kilos third attempt. For bench press, Garcia had a leading opener advantage of 162.5 kilos versus Brian's opener of 147.5 and the world leader's second and final attempt of 152.5 kilos. Brian took the lead advantage within the deadlift principle, whereby Garcia accumulated a lead total of 425 kilos or 7.59% in comparison to Brian's 395 kilos prior to deadlifts. However, with an opener or first attempt of 295.5 kilos versus Garcia's 235 kilos, Brian closed the gap with a 60.5 kilos lead advantage. Unfortunately, Garcia was unable to successfully respond as Brian progressed to further breaking the unofficial 66 kilos deadlift record with a monstrous 318.5 kilos. It is easy to assume that the world leader path is clear for a gold medal finish at the upcoming IPF Worlds. However, historical and contemporary findings of the top 9 and some 66 kilos world champions average world lead prior to competing at the IPF Worlds pinpoints to an approximate overall average of 3.06%. During competition, such lead total dramatically decreased by over 43.66%, with a lead advantage of 2.13%, which subsequently means that their closest rivals' level of competitiveness dramatically increases, and in some instances, the world leader or leaders tend to underperform. For example, in 2019, IPF world champion Charles Okpoko had a lead advantage of 715 kilos prior to competing on the world stage, whilst T. Song Ting had a total of 645 kilos, which is a 10.85% difference. Plus, it is the highest percentage lead total comparatively within the last 8 World Classic Championships. The lead advantage in 2019 post-competition was cut to 3.37%, instances such as Charles experiencing a fall of negative 1.35% in his rate of progression and or total, while silver medalist T. Song Tin experienced a positive 5.81% increment in his total, were partly contributing factors to a dramatic fall in Charles' lead advantage in 2019. Jonathan's year-on-year progression rate currently stands at 0.98%, which equates to an advantage for Brian, who has an average of 3.91%, as an higher year-on-year progression rate simply means that the athlete is progressing at a faster rate in comparison to other athletes. Since starting to compete within the raw 66 kilos weight class in 2016, Jonathan's progression rate currently stands at 15.68%.